What are some of your memories of world class and managing Rick Rude? I got a list of names from the territory I'm going to ask you about. But let's start off with Rick Rude.
Rick. Wow. You know, first of all, I can't believe he's dead. We were so close. You know, starting, I remember the first time that we worked together in Florida, and we shared an apartment. After we moved to Dallas, my wife and my son, I didn't want to move him out there yet because I didn't want to, you know, he was in school. I didn't want to pull him out of school and move, so I waited until school was over. So Rick and I shared an apartment in Dallas for several months, and we were always everywhere together. You know, he was just a great guy, and all the guys from Minnesota are all alike. You know, Kurt Hennig, you know, Rick Rude, and the Road Warriors, and they all cut from that same mold. And now look at the ones that are gone. It's those guys that are gone. And it just blows my mind. This is where I get really emotional now when I start talking about those guys. What a fantastic talent Rick Rude was. Tremendous mind for the business, tremendous promo guy. And it was hard for him, you know, when you're a manager for somebody that can talk, you know, for him to stand back and let me talk for him. That's saying something. And one of my favorite pictures of Rick Rude and myself I have hanging on my office at home is in Texas Stadium, when we used to have the Texas Stadium, you know, the Von Erich memorials that we would have every year. One particular year, Rick Rude worked with Bruiser Brody when they made the world-class title, the world title back then. And there's a picture of us standing in the middle of the ring in Texas Stadium, and I wasn't, you know, it was just people everywhere. And I'm standing in the middle of the ring. I had on a pink jacket and my cane and everything, and standing behind me is Rick Rude applauding me. And that's one of my favorite pictures. And I can't say too much about Rick. This a great guy and a great family man. And I miss him dearly. I really do. I had watched World Class on television for a long time before we went there. And I'll never forget the day that Rick Rude and myself pulled up in the parking lot of that building for the first time. If you've ever been to the Sportatorium or seen pictures of it, I can remember vividly. It's like a video running in my brain. Rick Rude and I pulled up in the parking lot, and we stopped, and we looked at each other and go, "This is the Sportatorium." I mean, it's just an old tin building, you know, with a rock parking lot, and just in the worst part of town. And we got in there, and it was, I guess, it was payday. All the boys would come in and get their checks. So when we got there, a lot of the boys were there, and the Von Erich boys were there. And Rick Rude was a national arm wrestling champion. Some people didn't know that. And as soon as we got there, the first thing that the Von Erich boys wanted to do was arm wrestle Rick Rude. So I said, here we are. We just walked into the place. Now, is Rick Rude going to put them Von Erich boys over or not? He beat them all. He beat Kevin. He beat Kerry. You know. Just, Rick was tough. Rick used to like to fight, you know, and which eventually led to our rough separation. You know, after the shows, we'd go out to a club or something, have some cocktails, and he fought every night. Not in the ring, in the bars. He liked to fight. And he had a girlfriend, and he would take his girlfriend and send her down by the bar, and he'd stand against the wall away from her. And stand there with a beer and just watch, and just wait for somebody to come and say something to her, hit on her or something. He could go whoop their ass.
Wow.
He liked to fight, and it just was fun. It was fun. At first it was fun, but then it just went on and on and on, and it got old. And then Rick had the opportunity. I'm really jumping ahead here because we're covering a few years there. Rick got the call from WCW, and I remember him asking me, "Percy, you want to go with me?" And that was a big decision there. And at that time, I was, you know, I wasn't tired of Rick. I was just tired of the gimmick, you know. And so, well, I didn't, you know, my kids are in school, and I made up some excuses. And long story short, Rick went on to WCW, and I stayed on in World Class for a few more years there. But we still skipped over a lot of stuff, and I'm sure you got it on your sheet.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's when he went up with Manny, I think, right?
Right,
okay.
yeah.
Yep.